The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
Parks and Recreation on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the beautiful Cedar Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up and they will get into all sorts of controversial topics, so stay tuned for that. Some great guests, important information throughout the half hour, so I hope you'll stay with us. Where we want to start though is talking about a successful program that's helped lots of folks, done great things in the community, and speaking of great things in the community, two great guys, our friends David Daggett, Griff Schuler from Daggett Schuler, attorneys at law. Good to see you guys.
Hey, Jim. Good to see you, Jim.
David, let me start with you. Just to recap, how long ago did you start the Safe Sober program, and how did it evolve over the past couple of years?
So we're getting ready to launch the 33rd year of the Safe Sober program, and it's wow. We've actually got kids and grandkids of people I've met in the Safe Sober program now coming through, and it's been really, really exciting. In the past few years with COVID interruption and those sort of things, we wanted to take advantage of that and launch the program even further. So research is showing is the issues that used to hit in high school are now hitting in late grade school and in middle school.
Oh, okay.
So what we're starting to do is working with the YMCAs of the Triad,
right,
is getting in with the younger kids, trying to teach them the leadership, guidance, and direction, and put them on the right path early.
Yeah, I want to circle back to the YMCA thing in a minute, but Griff, before I forget, you know, the T-shirt that comes out every year, it's specially designed by a student.
Coming soon.
Are you going to have a new one, and has the designer been named, or what?
The T-shirt design contest is one of the traditions of the program that is not changing. And yes, a student is the winner. We are about to announce that very, very soon. Watch out for social media, because that's coming soon. And I will give you this inside tip. This design this year is outstanding. It's a wonderful design. We're really excited to roll it out.
Wow, they'll leave here from Triad Today and they'll announce it on Fox 8. Anyway, now you like that, didn't you, Sherry? Now David, tell me about the Family Day at the Dash. Now that was done before, but are you doing it again?
We are doing it again. We're partnering with the Winston-Salem Dash. We're having a community day at the ballpark. You know, the kids, it's a Sunday afternoon, kids run the bases, the whole thing, to make sure that the awareness of the Safe Sober message spreads to a game where there will be lots of young people, and to the families. We address the entire support structure.
Right. Now I want to circle back to the YMCA. Tell me again about the YMCA partnership.
So what we're doing with the YMCA is they have different events throughout the summer where different teams of attorneys from our office go to the YMCAs. We have some fun time, interact with the kids, talk to them a little bit about serious issues they're facing, get them t-shirts, and try to just give them a little bit of leadership, guidance, and direction on making smart choices for their life so that we can put them on the road to success.
Griff, you and David and your team have done a lot over these years to help kids be empowered. And I guess my question to you is, over the time, have you gotten a sense from students, parents, teachers, principals of what kind of feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we've had some very specific success stories. For example, a few years ago, you may recall, we had some students that went to one of our Safe Sober presentations that focused on safety in cars, and they had never put on their seat belts. They put on their seat belts, and immediately after that, was in an accident where the EMS said, if you had not been wearing your seatbelt, you would have died.
I think, you know, that's
so.
Yeah.
We've had some specific success stories like that, but beyond that is just the culture of wrapping our arms around our students and things like that the whole community has gotten behind, that I think we made a real difference.
Absolutely, and I think you said April 30th is the Dash thing, so you want to do that. Up on screen, safesober.com is one website you want to check out, and also daggettschulerlaw.com. If you need the guys' services or help or advice, you can call 724-1234 as well. Guys, I appreciate you doing everything you're doing, and David, will you stay over for the roundtable?
I will. Exciting time of year.
It is. It's always always exciting when you guys are around.
Thanks,
We'll
Jim.
be right back after this.
You know, it's hard to believe the Safe Sober program has been going strong for over 30 years.
And over 600,000 students have made the pledge to stay safe and sober on prom night. You know, Griff, it's had a huge impact on our community.
Yeah, you're right, David. And now we're making sure the message continues year-round.
So everyone can join us in supporting our students.
Learn more and take the pledge at safesober.com, sponsored by Daggett Schuler.
Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today is now streaming on WFMY Plus, available free on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. Back now on Triad Today, I'd like to talk about the serious subject of lung cancer, but maybe more specifically, something I wasn't unaware of, types of lung cancer screenings. And the gentleman that can help us understand all this is with us. He's a first-time visitor to the show, Dr. Garrett Sherwood. He's a medical oncologist with Novant Health Cancer Institute. Good to see you.
Yes, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
And a local guy, as we found out off camera, spent most of his childhood in Greensboro, went to Grimsley High School.
That's correct. Go Whirlies.
Doc, just very quickly, how prevalent is lung cancer?
It's very prevalent. It's actually the second most common type of cancer that is diagnosed in both men and women.
And you know, when we talk about different types of cancer, some have very specific signs and symptoms. What about lung cancer?
Yeah, that's one of the tricky things about it, is that often the signs and symptoms are dismissed as something infectious, whether it's, COVID, pneumonia, bronchitis, something like that. And it's not until someone's had those symptoms for a long time before it prompts their doctor to order a more advanced study.
So how is lung cancer even diagnosed then?
Well, unfortunately, we find it by accident a lot, and then we also find it at late stages a lot more often than we want to. People losing weight, coughing up blood, and by that time, the cancer's fairly advanced.
You partially answered this, and I might ask a stupid question, but I'm curious. Why is the diagnosis made so late where the prognosis becomes poor?
Yeah.
I mean, why does that happen so
That's
often?
really that's the big, probably the biggest thing we have to tackle in lung cancer. And I think the short answer is that we're not screening for lung cancer like we are for other cancers.
Absolutely, yeah. And that brings me to this, because we've done a lot of health segments over the years. We're going into our 20th year next year, but I've never covered lung cancer screening. What kind of screening are we talking about?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because actually the first screening guidelines were published about a decade ago in 2013.
Wow.
Yeah. So the screening that we're referencing is annual low-dose CAT scans. The screening guidelines recently were updated to include adults aged 50 to 80 who are either currently smoking or have quit within the last 15 years.
Okay, so you're talking about more of an at-risk population should get these CT scans.
Absolutely. So the screening is not for everybody, but certainly focusing on the population that is most at risk, which is smokers.
Right. So how are you going to determine? I mean, if is this covered by insurance? Let's say somebody's 50 years old, has been a smoker or is a smoker. Is that fully covered when he or she wants to come in?
Should be covered with no out-of-pocket for the patient. Almost all insurances should cover the test.
Right. Now, is there anything, here again, I think I know the answer to this one, but any particular things that we should do early on or even any time to lessen the chance that lung cancer will develop?
Yeah, I think just knowing who's at risk, whether it's yourself or your family members, and encouraging them to talk to their doctor about getting screened, and not just getting screened once. These are annual scans.
They are. So in other words, would the primary physician or would you as a medical oncologist, who would sort of keep up with this to know that, well, John Doe patient is a smoker, therefore he's at risk, therefore it's going to be covered, but he needs to come every year? Who keeps up with that?
Yeah, the Cancer Institute needs to own that, and we need to partner with the primary care doctors. So they initiate the screening, and then we have to be there waiting in the wings to know what to do if there is a finding on the screening, how to talk to patients about that, and how to quickly get them evaluated.
Right. Up on screen, I want to do something here. Make sure we put it up here. The website is novanthealth.org/cancer. That will get you directly to that. We have about 10, 15 seconds left, Doc. You sort of spilled the beans when we were off camera before we started, but you come by your career honestly, right?
That's correct, yeah. My father's an oral surgeon, and so he's the one that got me interested in medicine.
How about that? That's great. Well, I know he's proud of you. Will you come back sometime?
I'd love to, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the good information, too. We'll be right back after this.
What are you waiting for? Your future awaits at Guilford Technical Community College. Make amazing happen.
Are you looking to jumpstart your future in the fast-paced, rapidly growing food and hospitality industry? In Second Harvest Food Bank's Providence Culinary and Hospitality programs, you will have the opportunity to do just that. From baking to barista training, an exciting future awaits you. Our programs have helped hundreds of individuals just like you excel in the workplace. There's no reason to wait to turn your passion for food and service into an exciting career. Check out the upcoming class schedule on our website at providencews.org/learn.
Back now on Triad Today, and we're going to spend the next few minutes talking about financial assistance and counseling in ways that a very special organization helps folks all the time, and we're so glad they do. We're going to introduce you first to Caitlin Burke. She's a program officer at Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation. She's seated in the middle behind me, and then we welcome back our good friend, Phyllis Caldwell-George, who is president and CEO of Financial Pathways of the Piedmont. Good to see you, girls.
Good to see
Pleasure
you.
to be here.
Caitlin, let me start with you. Just remind folks who the Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation is and what the mission is.
The Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation is a private family foundation that has invested over $600 million across North Carolina since 1936. The mission of the organization is to improve the lives of all North Carolinians. We have a particular commitment to Winston-Salem, Forsyth County as the birthplace of the foundation, and through that commitment are honored to support the work of Financial Pathways of the Piedmont.
That's a great segue. You know, even if I didn't know you, Phyllis, that would have been the introduction right there to you, because you do such great work. But just in case, for people that just moved into the area, whatever, tell folks what the mission of your organization is.
Financial Pathways of the Piedmont is really about improving the financial health of our community. And we've been around since 1972. A lot of people know us by our former name, Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Forsyth County. And it's really about, we want everyone to be financially well.
All right, I want to go down sort of a quick laundry list with you, Phyllis, about some of the key programs that you use to help families and individuals, because you sent me an email one day, and there's a whole, we won't get to all these, but one way you help is through housing. What do you mean?
So we are a HUD-approved housing counseling agency, and that means that we offer a comprehensive housing counseling program. One of the biggest things is that we have a Center for Home Ownership that's really focused on asset building. And so we help individuals actually be able to purchase a home. We're there to guide them through that home buying process, and also we're able to provide down payment assistance up to $50,000 in down payment assistance, which is really great because it really helps to fill the gap between what's affordable and what the person can actually afford themselves.
Now, since I'm a senior citizen, I'll ask you about one you told me about before, that's senior citizen, senior financial counseling. What about that?
So our senior financial care program is really focused on helping individuals to age in place. And so we actually go into the home, we actually help them with their monthly bill pay. But while we're there, we're also checking to make sure that they're well, making sure that there's no food insecurity, making sure there's no fraud, making sure that there's no financial exploitation, because oftentimes, unfortunately, that comes from the family.
All right, one more quick one. You do debt management and budget counseling very quickly.
That is the foundation of everything that we do, making sure that everyone knows what their spending is, where their money is going. So when someone comes into our office, we're going to look at where they are, we're going to look at all of their expenses, and then we're going to give them an action plan so they can improve their financial health.
Now, I heard y'all do something too called a financial checkup. What does that involve?
So the financial checkup is taking a look at your debt, taking a look at your income, and then also reviewing your credit report. From those things, we're going to make sure that you know where your money is going. We're also going to make sure that there's no fraud or identity theft, but we're also going to help you to plan for saving and spending and making sure that you know where your money goes. Every year you go to the doctor for a physical, we want to do a financial checkup as well.
Yeah, you know, and Caitlin, a lot of people say, well, the economy is getting better and all this kind of stuff, but people still need help.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you're doing to support what Phyllis's mission is all about. Before time runs out, I want to put up a couple things here. Financialpaths.org is the website, and I hope you will check that out to learn more about it, and you can even support the agencies. There's a way to do that if you want to get involved from the community standpoint. info@financialpaths.org is the email, or you can call 896-1191, and of course, for more information about our good friends at Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation, you go very simply to the website, zsr.org. To Caitlin and Phyllis, thanks for all the two of you do for so many people. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
We'll be right back after this.
What are you waiting for? Your future awaits at Guilford Technical Community College. Make amazing happen.
When storms hit, we're here for you. With new grid technology that can reroute power to avoid outages, and better communication to keep you in the know. And as we transition to a cleaner energy future, we'll still be here for you, keeping your costs down even as we work to expand renewables and explore new energy sources. We're Duke Energy, and we're building a smarter energy future for you.
Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you to catch my column Longworth at Large and Yes Weekly every week. It's available throughout the Triad, or you can go online, yesweekly.com. Back now on Triad Today, we have a special first-time visitor to the show. We're so glad he's here. Phil Fleischman is Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Greensboro. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And I guess, folks are expecting us to list all the parks and things. We're not going to do that because there's a website and folks can check that out. What I want to pick your brain on is the kind of economic impact that parks and recreation have on the city and the area.
Well, that's great. It's a good thing we don't have to list the parks out because there's over 175, so I'm sure I'd miss one or two. But yes, one of our focuses in Parks and Recreation is on economic impact. We do that through providing venues and hosting various sports tournaments, opportunities for cultural arts and engagement, things for people to participate both at home as well as bring in out-of-town guests. And really that's a focus of our economic efforts, is bringing in or attracting opportunities where out-of-town guests come in to participate. So think about soccer, tennis, various road races, softball tournaments.
Yeah, because we have a lot of those tournaments and things, bikes, and people come in and do all sorts of things, 5Ks, and of course there are people who live here that have relatives come in and visit, and then they want to go out and go to a park or have a good time. Which of the recreation facilities seem to generate the most economic impact, or do you have any figures on that?
Well, our economic impact figures range from year to year. Typically, we're around $50 million collectively, but that can vary. Certainly, things like the COVID pandemic affected that. But some of our busier facilities in terms of ones that host those large-scale events are the Bryan Park Truist Soccer Complex. It's a 20-field soccer complex that brings in all kinds of events, all kinds of activities and visitors from across the Southeast and across the country. We have tennis complexes that also attract similar events. We have a good partnership that's been long-standing for many years with the Greensboro Science Center. And
now, what do you mean a partnership with the Science Center? What does that mean?
So that's a public-private partnership, meaning that the city owns the Science Center in terms of the facilities. We're partnered with a nonprofit, the Greensboro Science Center, that operates and programs that venue. So really it's a great collaboration. Everything from what's there in the past to what's there now has resulted through this investment of both public dollars and private dollars into the site.
We didn't rehearse this. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm always curious from a consumer standpoint. You're talking about 175 different facilities and locations. Are most of these or any of these places where I need to pay a fee to go rent a facility or have a company picnic or what? How does that work?
So you can always find something that's available for you to just drop in and enjoy for free. But there are venues if you want to have a company picnic or a birthday party, a wedding reception. We've got a lot of wonderful venues, public gardens, indoor event spaces, recreation centers. And if you want kind of exclusive use for something like that, then yes, you would pay a fee for that.
Okay. I guess before time gets away from us, I'm just curious. You're sort of an ambassador for the city when it comes to parks and recs. If somebody's thinking about relocating a company here, or bringing employees here, and they say, well, what is there to do in terms of, parks and recreation? Without listing everything as we kidded about earlier. What in general, what do you say to them?
Well, Parks and Recreation is really connected in with quality of life. And we know that companies relocate to places where there's a high quality of life. That's where they want their business to be. That's where they want their employees to have an opportunity to live. That's where folks want to live, is places where there's a good quality of life. So we really pride ourselves on trying to have something for everyone, and then working collaboratively with community partners to make it happen.
Well, I appreciate all you're doing in that regard, because you really do make things happen around here with Parks and Rec and so many great opportunities, which I hope people will check out. Now, speaking of checking things out, go to the general website, greensboro-nc.gov, and you can go through that portal and get to where you need to go to learn more about parks and recreation. Phil, will you come back sometime?
Absolutely.
All right, thanks for everything.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
Every cookie sold in the Girl Scout Cookie Program helps girls learn lifelong lessons in people skills, decision making, money management, goal setting, and business ethics. It's amazing how much you can learn from a cookie. The Girl Scout Cookie Program. Think outside the box.
Baby, watch me fly. Baby, watch me soar. Baby, watch me fly. I will open up the sky.
Fly local, fly easy, fly PTI.
Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. You can see anything you want to out there, great looking plants, and you can rent the facility for weddings and luncheons. It's a great place. You can do just about anything here, and that's why we do the roundtable here. On my right, but always political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist, and held over from a previous segment, the Daggett Schuler guys, David Daggett, Griff Schuler. We explained that Griff is filling in for Keith because Keith was backed up with a traffic accident. He isn't in the accident, so he's okay, but he's backed up in the traffic. So we appreciate Griff hanging on. All right, guys, North Carolina lawmakers are debating legislation that would allow advanced practical nurses to see patients, prescribe meds and treatments without being supervised by a doctor. Good idea or bad idea, Ogie?
Jim, it's already happening. I mean, might as well face it. It's the wave of the future. My doctor changed practices, and I've been seeing a PA for the last year or so.
Okay. And of course, we're talking about nurses here, registered nurses, not physician's assistants. So registered nurses, what do you think?
Well, the nurse practitioners are playing a bigger and bigger role, which is good because we've had a log jam in our system, and it will help the consumer because they won't get stuck in quite the log jam. So I think it's a good thing within parameters.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with David. I have all the respect for registered nurses. The law firm, we have represented many wonderful registered nurses. I think it's a bad idea if that's being done without being supervised by a doctor.
Okay. Meanwhile, just quickly on this one, North Carolina lawmakers want to eliminate a regulation that requires state employees to get COVID vaccinations. As I said quickly, you guys okay with that or not, Ogie?
No, I think it should be a requirement.
David?
I think it's a scientific answer. We require some vaccines. We don't require others. Has this run its course yet? I don't know. It's a scientific answer, not an opinion.
On this one, I'm going to agree with David.
Okay. All right. And in other legislative action, there could be a fight. A fight might break out here any minute.
This could be interesting by the end.
But I got Ogie with me no matter what.
Yeah, this may be the last time you ever see Daggett Schuler together on billboards or anything. In other legislative action, some lawmakers want to raise the age for compulsory school attendance from 16 to 18. Now, this means it would be illegal for a student to drop out before he turns 18. Good idea or bad idea, Ogie?
Well, that's pretty idealistic. It'd be nice, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Now, you two guys have worked with a lot of teenagers. This would mean that you can't drop out. You got to stay in there until you're 18. What do you think?
Well, the problem is you have rural areas, you have urban areas. I'm not sure that rule would fit everywhere. I would be against raising the age now. I think that it causes more problems than it solves at the present time.
And I guess some kids need to go out and make money for the family. I don't know. What do you think?
I think times have changed. I think some of that when it was put in 16 was during a time period where it was almost, a requirement for certain families for their kids to start working a little bit earlier. I really don't have a problem with it. I think there could be some good with it.
He's disagreeing with me again.
All right. Prosecutors in Newport News, Virginia say they will not charge the 6-year-old boy who deliberately shot his teacher. They say the boy wouldn't understand the charges or the legal system. Now, guys, do you agree with that decision? Or shouldn't the boy at least be put in a mental hospital? Hoagie.
Well, I should defer to the two attorneys here, but just right off the top of my head, I don't see how a 6-year-old can stand trial. I just don't see it.
David.
Yeah. This case kind of fits in the gap. No, shouldn't stand trial and that sort of punishment for that at 6 years old. The flip side, we don't have mental hospitals that are equipped for 6-year-olds either. This young person obviously has a problem either with himself or with his home place, and that does need to be addressed.
So what do you do, Griff?
Well, I agree with David. I don't think you prosecute a six-year-old, but I think going to the family, there's got to be some way to help him and the family get some much-needed counseling, some help to hopefully get on a better path.
All right, in sports news, a girls' high school basketball team in Vermont refused to play the league championship game because their opponent had a trans male on the team. You have a problem with the girls refusing to play, first of all, and does that make them transphobic or just practical, Hoagie?
Well, here we go again. I mean, every time you have a trans kid playing athletics, somebody's going to object. I mean, it happens every sport. So I wouldn't mind playing against a trans kid.
Dave.
Having transgender athletes is not a new issue. It's a new visible issue in society.
Right.
And the problem is we have not evolved to the point to properly regulate and handle this. It needs to be handled. It needs to be handled appropriately. It needs to be handled sensitively. I'm not sure the right answer for this date and time.
The girls, gave up a chance to play in the championship, didn't want to play.
It's a complicated situation. If they choose to make that decision as a team, I guess that's their selection.
All right. Finally, if you're unhappy with the way your signature looks, you can now pay a female calligrapher in Los Angeles $50 to sign your name for you. Guys, are you unhappy with your signature? Would you pay someone $50 to sign your name? And has a woman ever signed your name, Hoagie?
Well, that's just silly. I mean, no, I wouldn't do that.
Has a woman ever signed your name?
Well, yes, we have one here in the room. Who is it?
Catherine Vernon is back there behind the camera going, yeah, I signed his name. Yeah. Griff?
My signature is really, really bad and has gotten worse the older I've become, so maybe I need some help. I may need somebody.
Pay me $50.
Bring him in.
I'll sign it.
Pay Catherine $50. All right, well, that's all the time we have, fortunately. Oh, except for this. Last week, the city council in Berlin, Germany, voted to allow women to go topless at all the public pools. In other news, Hoagie's moving to Germany.
All right.
Did you know that?
Germany.
All right, for all of us here on Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.